I thought she was starting on her blue, but she started red.
You even have a ward on her red buff, by the way. So this
And
is this is just like a really important skill, bro, right? Because your eyes are muscles, yeah. So you can actually train them to do
mhm,
shit. Like if you ever watch one of the top junglers when they're streaming, they have their face cam on, their eyes will always
mhm.
look at the map like every second. Or when there's dead air, I call it. When they're not actually doing anything. Now dead air can
Yeah,
even
yeah.
be half a second. So in between each auto attack here, you can look at your map, right? So I'll pretty much like say what you should be doing. So auto attacking like this is fine, and then aiming, right, concentrating. Right, now you look at your map after you auto attack here.
Yeah, yeah.
Auto attack map right now. Auto attack map. Auto attack map again. Auto attack map.
Mhm.
I mean, you can E there as well. Like when you're not actually doing something that intensive.
Right. Yeah,
Right, so
yeah,
you
yeah.
can always look at your map, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the fact you miss this is just because you're not trained at looking at your map. Because this is pretty much
Yeah.
it's pretty much everything, man. Like even if I'm coaching other roles and they ask me about, like how do I track the enemy jungler or how do I know where they are? All you have to do is just look at this thing and you should be able to work it out. Pretty much the first interaction you have in a game with the enemy jungler, it's going to be like pinging where they start, right? So if you're starting at a buff, remember it's all correlated as well, right? So if you're starting at a buff, they're
Mhm.
starting at a buff. If you're doing your third camp, they're doing their third camp and hitting level 3 as well. So your first actual like action in any game is just to ping where they start, right? Because I guarantee you that this Malzahar, Belveth, Ashe, Mordekaiser, they're not going to be looking at their minimap thinking about where the enemy jungler is, because that's your job. It's not useful for you, remember? Like, you are part of a team here, so it's useful for everyone involved, right? Because if I'm playing Mordekaiser, I know that if Lilia starts bot, oh, she's a full clearer, like you said, she's probably going to end her clear top side, right? So I
100%.
might, like, not want to hit the wave as much as I would, because I don't want to get ganked,
Yeah,
be
yeah.
pushed up. But if I'm Ashe and Belveth, I should probably know, hey, Lilia is probably just going to finish her clear top side. We can just go ham in this 2v2 because Graves let us know. Okay.
That's some OP plays right there.
Yes, this is the next thing as well, man. So this is just going to be big about communication, right? So pretty much like how you beat the enemy jungler, there are mediums through which you beat them, right?
Mhm.
So enemy jungle and beating them. One of them is just communication. This is probably the biggest one
Right.
as well, actually. It's like the great thing about jungling. You don't have to win a game by directly putting your champion, like in that lane or, oh, enemy jungler's ganking top lane, I've got to like counter gank them. I've got to be there for it. You don't. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
just ping it. You can
Right.
be doing something else and saving a lane just because you're jungle tracking. So
Right.
communicating and pinging is one way we can actually just beat the enemy jungler. Right? Now, how do we like actually know where they are? Well, it's just information, right? So again, like what's on your screen, but also what's on the map, yeah? So
Yeah.
let's just say that you didn't actually have a ward on her red buff and you didn't know where she started, right?
Mhm.
As soon as you walk past any camp, it's information. Right. So red buff's gone, yeah?
Yeah.
So what information does this give us?
That this is where she started, and she's most likely pathing up since she's a full clear.
So why don't you ping it?
Right.
So that, like, all this, man, is just info. So as soon as I see a camp missing in a game, I'm like, oh, they're not here. Therefore,
Right.
just logically, they've got to be on the other side of the map. So I'd be pinging, like, these areas, just question mark.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, if this is, like, a Lee Sin, it might be a J4, someone who's a lot more active than a Lilia, could probably be.
Right.
You would be going nuts with the pings. Especially if any of your mid and top lane, like this side of the map, is obviously where the
Mhm.
enemy jungler is. So if their jungler's here and any of your champions are low, I would just be spam pinging them. Like, danger here for Mouse.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
just go until
100%.
you can't stop. Another concept that I can see that we need to know about as well is just that when you go to Gromp here, this situation here, right, you have to understand that there is counterplay. So what I mean is, like, there's going to be so many plays you can make, right? So right here, you could gank Mordekaiser. Like, that is literally one play you could make, right?
Mhm.
You could run to your Krugs and wait for them to respawn for 10 seconds. That's another play, right? But obviously, these are really weird. They don't make sense.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
even consider them, but they are plays you can make. What plays do you think you
Mhm.
have after doing blue buff? Because you have to think like this, man. I'm doing blue buff here, right? Now, in 10 seconds, I
Mhm.
have blue buff. So if you play the game live, you're going to get caught out. Just goes back to like when you want to invade Lilia, right? You're thinking a little bit ahead,
Yeah.
right? If she starts a red buff, I'm hitting blue. She starts a blue, I'm hitting a red. Quite simple. in that respect. But here
Yeah.
as well, when you're clearing your camps, when you don't have a plan like that, which is like a concrete plan, you have to think, well, if I'm doing this in 10 seconds, I have blue buff. What am I doing when I have blue buff? And am I going to do Gromp? Because it's Gromp Wolves. Or maybe you can go Wolves Gromp. And it's based off timing. You have to be able to see the enemy jungler Vex as if you didn't have a map cover on. So I know exactly what Lilia,
Mhm.
well, maybe not because it's a different elo or whatever. But what she should be
Yeah.
doing, if you can play around that and you beat her best move, you always win.
Mhm.
Because if she doesn't make the best
Right.
move, your move becomes even better. So 338, like what level is she? Where is she? What might she be thinking?
At 338, she's probably almost done full clearing, if not done full clearing, and maybe on Scuttle on top side. I don't know how fast her clear is,
Hmm,
but if I know she's a pretty fast clearer, if not about to take Scuttle, maybe on it.
good. I agree. Okay. And what level is she?
4.
Okay. You're not close to hitting level 4 here, right? You
Right.
also don't have power in your mid and bot lane. Okay, Mal's is full HP, but it's a Malzahar. Like, who cares? I would rather have
Yeah.
a cannon minion helping me.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and Belveth's dead as well, right? So what do you
Yep.
think I'm kind of getting at here? Like, I've obviously said that doing Scuttle Crab first is good. Why am I placing importance on this crab over, like, your Gromp and Wolves, let's say? Because that's, like, the other kind of logical play you have here. Maybe you could think about ganking bot because you know Lily's top. Maybe, if you know flash
Yeah.
situations and stuff, you could think about it. But I don't think that's actually conclusive here because they're going to have priority and minion advantage, all that. So it looks a little sketchy.
Right.
So why am I placing importance on you just running to crab here after doing blue?
Probably because it'd be really bad if she was able to take a full clear plus hers Scuttle and then ran down here to even gather my Scuttle as well.
Excellent, right? But in this
Yeah.
game, there is nothing stopping her from just running through mid. Even if she shows on vision, she could
Hmm.
think about doing it. Like, I don't think it's actually that good because, again, what you said, 420, right? Like, it's already
Yeah.
340. 40 seconds is pretty much like a recall at this stage in a game and getting to your first camp.
Right.
Around 35, 40 seconds. I'll just say, man, in terms of Graves mechanics, like, the only thing you have to be aware of when you're fighting, unless you're, like, that much stronger, is you're a ranged champion, right? So, the only thing you should think about when you're playing a ranged
Right.
champion is just keeping one champion in your auto attack circle. So, if that's Graves'
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
auto attack range, all you want to be doing at, like, all times is keeping one person in between those two white lines. So, in this space here. Yeah?
Right.
If they get inside this is like the danger zone, right? Where melee champions can hit you and stuff. So you have to think,
Yeah. That
me
makes
being a
sense.
ranged champion, I have like an innate advantage if I keep that range. That's all you have to do. So if there's a champion here and there's a champion here, and you want to hit this champion, you would just kite like this. Because you're keeping that champion inside your circle, right? This champion's outside of it the whole time.
Right.
If there's a champion here, you don't just run like this. You're getting 2v1'd. You need to isolate
Yeah.
champions. Does that make sense for your circle?
Yeah. That definitely makes sense.